a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Liverpool FC. Liverpool Football Club is a professional football club in Liverpool, England, that competes in the Premier League, the top tier of English football. The club has won 5 European Cups, more than any other English club. 3 UEFA Cups, 3 UEFA Super Cups, 18 league titles, 7 FA Cups, 8 League Cups, and 15 FA Community Shields. Founded in 1892, the club joined the Football League the following year, and has played at Anfield since its formation. Liverpool established itself as a major force in English and European football in the 1970s and 1980s when Bill Shankly and Bob Paisley led the club to 11 league titles and 7 European trophies. Under the management of Rafael Benítez and captained by Steven Gerrard, Liverpool became European champions for the 5th time in 2005. Liverpool was the 9th highest earning football club in the world in 2016-17, with an annual revenue of €424.2 million, and the world's 8th most valuable football club in 2018, valued at $1.944 billion. The club is one of the best supported teams in the world. Liverpool has long-standing rivalries with Manchester United and Everton. The club's supporters have been involved in 2 major tragedies. The Hazel Stadium disaster, where escaping fans were pressed against a collapsing wall at the 1985 European Cup final in Brussels, with 39 people, mostly Italians and Juventus fans, dying, after which English clubs were given a 5-year ban from European competition, and the Hillsborough disaster in 1989, where 96 Liverpool supporters died in a crush against perimeter fencing. The team changed from red shirts and white shorts to an all-red home strip in 1964, which has been used ever since. The club's anthem is, "You'll Never Walk Alone." History. Liverpool FC was founded following a dispute between the Everton Committee and John Holding, club president and owner of the land at Anfield. After 8 years at the stadium, Everton relocated to Goodison Park in 1892 and Holding founded Liverpool FC to play at Anfield. Originally named Everton FC and Athletic Grounds Limited, the club became Liverpool FC in March 1892 and gained official recognition 3 months later, after the Football Association refused to recognise the club as Everton. The team won the Lancashire League in its debut season and joined the Football League Second Division at the start of the 1893-94 season. After finishing in first place, the club was promoted to the First Division, which it won in 1901 and again in 1906. Liverpool reached its first FA Cup final in 1914, losing 1-0 to Burnley. It won consecutive league championships in 1922 and 1923, but did not win another trophy until the 1946-47 season, when the club won the First Division for a 5th time under the control of ex-West Ham United centre-half George Kay. Liverpool suffered its second cup final defeat in 1950, playing against Arsenal. The club was relegated to the Second Division in the 1953-54 season. Soon after, Liverpool lost 2-1 to non-league Worcester City in the 1958-59 FA Cup. Bill Shankly was appointed manager. Upon his arrival, he released 24 players and converted a boot storage room at Anfield into a room where the coaches could discuss strategy. Here, Shankly and other boot room members Joe Fagan, Ruben Bennett, and Bob Paisley began reshaping the team. The club was promoted back into the First Division in 1962 and won it in 1964, for the first time in 17 years. In 1965, the club won its first FA Cup. In 1966, the club won the First Division, but lost to Borussia Dortmund in the European Cup Winners' Cup final. Liverpool won both the League and the UEFA Cup during the 1972-73 season, and the FA Cup again a year later. Shankly retired soon afterwards and was replaced by his assistant, Bob Paisley. In 1976, Paisley's second season as manager, the club won another League and UEFA Cup double. The following season, the club retained the league title and won the European Cup for the first time, but had lost in the 1977 FA Cup final. Liverpool retained the European Cup in 1978 and regained the First Division title in 1979. During Paisley's 9 seasons as manager, Liverpool won 21 trophies, including 3 European Cups, a UEFA Cup, 6 league titles and 3 consecutive League Cups. The only domestic trophy he did not win was the FA Cup. Paisley retired in 1983 and was replaced by his assistant, Joe Fagan. Liverpool won the League Cup and European Cup in Fagan's first season, becoming the first English side to win 3 trophies in a season. Liverpool reached the European Cup final again in 1985, against Juventus at the Heysel Stadium. Before kick-off, Liverpool fans breached a fence which separated the 2 groups of supporters, and charged the Juventus fans. The resulting weight of people caused a retaining wall to collapse, killing 39 fans, mostly Italians. The incident became known as the Heysel Stadium disaster. The match was played in spite of protests by both managers, and Liverpool lost 1-0 to Juventus. As a result of the tragedy, English clubs were banned from participating in European competition for 5 years. Liverpool received a 10-year ban, which was later reduced to 6 years. 14 Liverpool fans received convictions for involuntary manslaughter. Fagan had announced his retirement just before the disaster and Kenny Dalglish was appointed as player-manager. During his tenure, the club won another 3 league titles and 2 FA Cups, including a League and Cup double, in the 1985-86 season. Liverpool's success was overshadowed by the Hillsborough disaster. In an FA Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest on the 15th of April 1989, hundreds of Liverpool fans were crushed against perimeter fencing. 94 fans died that day. The 95th victim died in hospital from his injuries 4 days later, and the 96th died nearly 4 years later, without regaining consciousness. After the Hillsborough disaster, there was a government review of stadium safety. The resulting Taylor Report paved the way for legislation that required top division teams to have all-seater stadiums. The report ruled that the main reason for the disaster was overcrowding due to a failure of police control. Liverpool was involved in the closest finish to a league season during the 1988-89 season. Liverpool finished equal with Arsenal on both points and goal difference, but lost the title on total goals scored when Arsenal scored the final goal in the last minute of the season. Dalglish cited the Hillsborough disaster and its repercussions as the reason for his resignation in 1991. He was replaced by former player Graham Souness. Under his leadership, Liverpool won the 1992 FA Cup final, but their league performances slumped, with 2 consecutive 6th-place finishes, eventually resulting in his dismissal in January 1994. Souness was replaced by Roy Evans, and Liverpool went on to win the 1995 Football League Cup final. While they made some title challenges under Evans, 3rd-place finishes in 1996 and 1998 were the best they could manage. And so Gérard Houllier was appointed co-manager in the 1998-99 season, and became the sole manager in November 1998 after Evans resigned. In 2001, Hollier's second full season in charge, Liverpool won a treble, the FA Cup, League Cup and UEFA Cup. Houllier underwent major heart surgery during the 2001-02 season, and Liverpool finished second in the league, behind Arsenal. They won a further League Cup in 2003, but failed to mount a title challenge in the 2 seasons that followed. Houllier was replaced by Rafael Benítez at the end of the 2003-04 season. Despite finishing 5th in Benítez's first season, Liverpool won the 2004-05 UEFA Champions League, beating AC Milan 3-2 in a penalty shootout after the match ended with a score of 3-3. The following season, Liverpool finished 3rd in the Premier League and won the 2006 FA Cup final, beating West Ham United in a penalty shootout after the match finished 3-3. American businessman George Gillett and Tom Hicks became the owners of the club during the 2006-07 season, in a deal which valued the club and its outstanding debts at £218.9 million. The club reached the 2007 UEFA Champions League final against Milan, as it had in 2005, but lost 2-1. During the 2008-09 season, Liverpool achieved 86 points, its highest Premier League points total, and finished as runners-up to Manchester United. In the 2009-10 season, Liverpool finished 7th in the Premier League and failed to qualify for the Champions League. Benítez subsequently left by mutual consent and was replaced by Fulham manager Roy Hodgson. At the start of the 2010-11 season, Liverpool was on the verge of bankruptcy and the club's creditors asked the High Court to allow the sale of the club, overruling the wishes of Hickson Gillett. John W. Henry, owner of the Boston Red Sox and of Fenway Sports Group, bid successfully for the club and took ownership in October 2010. Poor results during the start of that season led to Hodgson leaving the club by mutual consent, and former player and manager Kenny Dalglish taking over. In the 2011-12 season, Liverpool secured a record 8th League Cup success and reached the FA Cup final, but finished in 8th position, the worst league finish in 18 years. This led to the sacking of Dalglish. He was replaced by Brendan Rodgers, whose Liverpool team in the 2013-14 season mounted an unexpected title charge to finish second behind champions Manchester City and subsequently return to the Champions League, scoring 101 goals in the process, the most since the 106 scored in the 1895-96 season. Following a disappointing 2014-15 season, where Liverpool finished 6th in the league, and a poor start to the following campaign, Rodgers was sacked in October 2015. He was replaced by Jurgen Klopp, who in his first season at Liverpool, took the club to the finals of both the Football League Cup and UEFA Europa League, finishing as runner-up in both competitions. Colours and badge. For much of Liverpool's history, its home colours have been all red, but when the club was founded its kit was more like the contemporary Everton kit. The blue and white quartered shirts were used until 1894, when the club adopted the city's colour of red. The city's symbol of the liver bird was adopted as the club's badge in 1901, although it was not incorporated into the kit until 1955. Liverpool continued to wear red shirts and white shorts until 1964, when manager Bill Shankly decided to change to an all-red strip. Liverpool played in all red for the first time against Anderlecht, as Ian Street, John recalled in his autobiography. The Liverpool away strip has more often than not been all yellow or white shirts and black shorts, but there have been several exceptions. An all-grey kit was introduced in 1987, which was used until the 1991-92 centenary season, when it was replaced by a combination of green shirts and white shorts. After various color combinations in the 1990s, including gold and navy, bright yellow, black, and grey, and ecru, the club alternated between yellow and white away kits until the 2008-09 season, when it reintroduced the grey kit. A third kit is designed for European away matches, though it is also worn in domestic away matches on occasions when the current away kit clashes with a team's home kit. Between 2012-15, the kits were designed by Warrior Sports, who became the club's kit providers at the start of the 2012-13 season. In February 2015, Warrior's parent company New Balance announced it would be entering the global football market, with teams sponsored by Warrior now being outfitted by New Balance. The only other branded shirts worn by the club were made by Umbro until 1985, when they were replaced by Adidas, who produced the kits until 1996 when Reebok took over. They produced the kits for 10 years before Adidas made the kits from 2006 to 2012. Liverpool was the first English professional club to have a sponsor's logo on its shirts, after agreeing a deal with Hitachi in 1979. Since then the club has been sponsored by Crown Paints, Candy, Carlsberg, and Standard Chartered Bank. The contract with Carlsberg, which was signed in 1992, was the longest-lasting agreement in English top-flight football. The association with Carlsberg ended at the start of the 2010-11 season, when Standard Chartered Bank became the club's sponsor. The Liverpool badge is based on the city's liver bird, which in the past had been placed inside a shield. In 1992, to commemorate the centennial of the club, a new badge was commissioned, including a representation of the Shankly gates. The next year twin flames were added at either side, symbolic of the Hillsborough Memorial outside Anfield, where an eternal flame burns in memory of those who died in the Hillsborough disaster. In 2012, Warrior Sports' first Liverpool kit removed the shield and gates, returning the badge to what had adorned Liverpool shirts in the 1970s. The flames were moved to the back collar of the shirt, surrounding the number 96 for the number who died at Hillsborough Stadium. Anfield was built in 1884 on land adjacent to Stanley Park. It was originally used by Everton before the club moved to Goodison Park after a dispute over rent with Anfield owner John Holding. Left with an empty ground, Holding founded Liverpool in 1892 and the club has played at Anfield ever since. The capacity of the stadium at the time was 20,000, although only 100 spectators attended Liverpool's first match at Anfield. The Kop was built in 1906 due to the high turnout for matches and was called the Oakfield Road Embankment initially. Its first game was on the 1st of September 1906 when the home side beat Stoke City 1-0. In 1906 the banked stand at one end of the ground was formally renamed the Spion Kop after a hill in KwaZulu-Natal. The hill was the site of the Battle of Spion Kop in the Second Boer War, where over 300 men of the Lancashire Regiment died, many of them from Liverpool. At its peak, the stand could hold 28,000 spectators and was one of the largest single-tier stands in the world. Many stadia in England had stands named after Spion Kop, but Anfield's was the largest of them at the time. It could hold more supporters than some entire football grounds. Anfield could accommodate more than 60,000 supporters at its peak, and had a capacity of 55,000 until the 1990s. The Taylor Report and Premier League regulations obliged Liverpool to convert Anfield to an all-seater stadium in time for the 1993-94 season, reducing the capacity to 45,276. The findings of the Taylor Report precipitated the redevelopment of the Kemlyn Road stand, which was rebuilt in 1992, coinciding with the centenary of the club, and was known as the Centenary Stand until 2017 when it was renamed the Kenny Dalglish Stand. An extra tier was added to the Anfield Road end in 1998, which further increased the capacity of the ground, but gave rise to problems when it was opened. A series of support poles and stanchions were inserted to give extra stability to the top tier of the stand after movement of the tier was reported at the start of the 1999-2000 season. Because of restrictions on expanding the capacity at Anfield, Liverpool announced plans to move to the proposed Stanley Park Stadium in May 2002. Planning permission was granted in July 2004, and in September 2006. Liverpool City Council agreed to grant Liverpool a £999 lease on the proposed site. Following the takeover of the club by George Gillett and Tom Hicks in February 2007, the proposed stadium was redesigned. The new design was approved by the council in November 2007. The stadium was scheduled to open in August 2011 and would hold 60,000 spectators, with HKS Incorporated contracted to build the stadium. Construction was halted in August 2008, as Gillett and Hicks had difficulty in financing the £300 million needed for the development. In October 2012, BBC Sport reported that Fenway Sports Group, the new owners of Liverpool F.C., had decided to redevelop their current home at Anfield Stadium, rather than building a new stadium in Stanley Park. As part of the redevelopment, the capacity of Anfield was to increase from 45,276 to approximately 60,000 and would cost approximately £150 million. When construction was completed on the new main stand, the capacity of Anfield was increased to 54,074. This £100 million expansion added a third tier to the stand. This was all part of a £260 million project to improve the Anfield area. Jurgen Klopp, the manager at the time, described the stand as impressive. Support. Liverpool is one of the best supported clubs in the world. The club states that its worldwide fan base includes more than 200 officially recognized Club of the LFC official supporters clubs in at least 50 countries. Notable groups include Spirit of Shankly. The club takes advantage of this support through its worldwide summer tours, which has included playing in front of 101,000 in Michigan, US and 95,000 in Melbourne, Australia. Liverpool fans often refer to themselves as Copites, a reference to the fans who once stood, and now sit, on the Kop at Anfield. In 2008, a group of fans decided to form a splinter club, AFC Liverpool, to play matches for fans who had been priced out of watching Premier League football. The song, You'll Never Walk Alone, originally from the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical Carousel, and later recorded by Liverpool musicians Jerry and the Pacemakers, is the club's anthem and has been sung by the Anfield crowd since the early 1960s. It has since gained popularity among fans of other clubs around the world. The song's title adorns the top of the Shankly gates, which were unveiled on the 2nd of August 1982 in memory of former manager Bill Shankly. The "You'll Never Walk Alone" portion of the Shankly gates is also reproduced on the club's crest. The club's supporters have been involved in 2 stadium disasters. The first was the 1985 Heysel Stadium disaster, in which 39 Juventus supporters were killed. They were confined to a corner by Liverpool fans who had charged in their direction. The weight of the cornered fans caused a wall to collapse. UEFA laid the blame for the incident solely on the Liverpool supporters, and banned all English clubs from European competition for 5 years. Liverpool was banned for an additional year, preventing it from participating in the 1990-91 European Cup, even though it won the league in 1990. 27 fans were arrested on suspicion of manslaughter and were extradited to Belgium in 1987 to face trial. In 1989, after a 5-month trial in Belgium, 14 Liverpool fans were given 3-year sentences for involuntary manslaughter. Half of the terms were suspended. The second disaster took place during an FA Cup semi-final between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest at Hillsborough Stadium, Sheffield, on the 15th of April 1989. 96 Liverpool fans died as a consequence of overcrowding at the Leppings Lane end, in what became known as the Hillsborough disaster. In the following days, the Sun newspaper published an article entitled "The Truth," in which it claimed that Liverpool fans had robbed the dead and had urinated on and attacked the police. Subsequent investigations proved the allegations false, leading to a boycott of the newspaper by Liverpool fans across the city and elsewhere. Many still refused to buy the Sun more than 20 years later. Many support organisations were set up in the wake of the disaster, such as the Hillsborough Justice Campaign, which represents bereaved families, survivors and supporters in their efforts to secure justice. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?